All right, guys. This is Ryan McArdle, partner at the Palomar Group, an investment sales firm down in Augusta, Georgia. Today's guest on our new series, the Palomar Perspective, is Barry Argalas at Regency Centers. Barry's the Senior Vice President of National Transactions at Regency, where he oversees Regency's acquisition and disposition activity and plays a key role in strategic mergers and acquisitions, including the 2017 merger with Equity One, which was a $5 billion merger that created a portfolio of 429 properties stretching across more than 57 million square feet and located mainly in high density and affluent areas. Barry, thanks for joining us today. Thanks for the shower and the shave. You look fantastic. First things first, just checking in. How are you and your wife doing down in isolation down in Jacksonville?
Yeah, no, well, appreciate the invite first and foremost. It's good to stay in touch with people while we're in seclusion, it seems like. But no, thank you for asking. My wife is fine. My animals are fine, and we're doing just fine down here in Jacksonville.
Good. Well, we'll jump right into it. We kicked things off. This is only our second segment, so we're still trying to fine-tune this thing. But we'll kick it off with a couple personal things and an opening we're trying to call the underwriting. So first things first, little personal questions for you, and then just shoot off the cuff. If you had to choose one thing that you did better than the other, would it be drinking White Claws or hitting your PXG driver?
It would definitely be hitting my driver. As you can attest to that. That was a rough round. Maybe a rough couple rounds, but definitely the drive.
Good. All right. Better candidate for a reality TV show coming out of this pandemic: Gardner Minshew or Jameis Winston?
Oh, definitely Minshew. I mean, I think everybody's been watching that Tiger King documentary, and he came out with a nice little picture of himself yesterday. He dressed up just like him.
He was the Jaguar King, isn't he? Or something like that. To that point, who do you think you guys bring on this year? Or I've seen some talk about it. You don't think so?
He's an interception.
You think y'all stay the course with Minshew?
Minshew magic is where we're going to stick for right now. Cam wouldn't be more interesting to me than Jameis. Jameis is just a turnover machine. And plus, remember, Jacksonville's a little bit more Gator country than anything else, and they don't want a Florida State quarterback around here.
That's true. To that point, you're a graduate of Florida State, right?
Yeah.
Go Noles. What do you think about the new coaching changes over there?
Well, for anybody that watches or listens to this and that knows me, they would, if I didn't say this, they would know I wasn't being truthful. So I grew up a Gator fan. I went to Tallahassee. I loved my time over there, but I've never been a fan of their athletic program. So I'm a Gator, even though I went to Florida State.
Oh, man. Oh, no. I grew up a Noles fan with my dad going there. He was a graduate of Florida State and grew up, obviously, in the 90s and when everything was great at Florida State. It hadn't been too great here recently. But sticking to Florida State, what do you think? Do you think they go over 8 wins this year?
Taggart's still the coach there, right?
No, they just brought on Mike Norvell.
He's from Memphis, right? Memphis. I don't know too much about him. I don't know. I don't have a good opinion about them.
But they better do something to start filling that stadium back up. It was pretty depressing watching them on TV with a half.
So when I was there,
when they just won a national championship,
I was there back in the glory days, like what you're talking about, and the wide right days and the big games with the Hurricanes, and it was. I mean, like I said, I'm a Gator fan, but my time at Florida State was awesome. The football experience was killer. It was so intense, and to look at it on TV now and see what's going on in stands is hard to believe.
Oh, agreed. Well, cool. We'll jump into your career at Regency. You've been at Regency a while, right? Just about your
Correct.
whole career, correct? Yeah. Over those years, what's been the most exciting part of being at Regency?
Well, I think when I was younger, when I was single, I started in Jacksonville, and then I had spent a period of time in Dallas working for Regency, and then I would transition back to Tampa, and then finally circled all the way back to Jacksonville. So it's been almost 24 years, and to me, there's always the one-off transactions that are pretty cool, that are memorable, but I think the mergers that we do with the other public companies, and kind of being on the front end of that, where you're out exploring, underwriting the properties, and working kind of behind the scenes before anybody else in the company kind of knows what's going on. There's that excitement of the build-up of announcing the transaction, seeing everybody go, "Wow, you were working on that!" And so those are fun.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you all keeping with industry related stuff. You guys currently own 420 centers, totaling over 500 million square feet across the country. As this shutdown has had some dramatic effects on the retail industry, what's Regency doing to address those issues with tenants and maybe your lenders?
Yeah, it's obviously still early, and I think everybody's waiting to see what the total effect of the shutdown is going to have. I think everybody's got an eye towards April rent, and is somebody going to pay? Should they pay? What kind of communication should happen with the tenants? And I think with the CARES Act now and the rolling out of these new both state and federal programs, we want to make sure that we are as informed as we can be so that we can assist our tenants in getting some relief money, and then just being a good steward to our community. So kind of putting aside who may or may not pay rent in the immediate future, and just trying to make sure that people are operating in a healthy manner and in a safe manner.
Right. So you guys you all's property managers and asset managers, are they proactively reaching out to the tenants at y'all centers? Are you all waiting on that dialogue to come in from the tenants, or how are y'all handling?
We did a communication to all of our tenants, and so that's been sent out. Obviously, then we're dealing with the inbounds that come in from the tenants that are reaching out to us, and then we've used our website to we're directing our tenants to our website, where we have a lot of communications and ways for them to submit documents to us so that we can evaluate requests when they come in.
Right. I gotcha. And then that same question, I know you all aren't very heavily levered, but with your lenders, are you guys starting to have these conversations with your lenders as well about how to handle this situation?
Well, I think we just put out a release today, or it might have been last night, and we don't have any corporate debt maturities until 2022, so that's a good thing. But we probably the 400 plus properties that Regency owns, I'm just going to call it 175-ish of those properties are in joint ventures. And so the properties that we own in joint ventures typically have individual mortgages on them. So most of our other properties that we own wholly, 100%, those don't have mortgages. So of those properties that are in JVs, I think I just read this morning that we have $150 million and $174 million maturing over the next 2 years. So there's not a whole lot of exposure there, and there's not any ongoing dialogue with lenders as of yet. I would expect that to be the case. The leverage levels are pretty low on individual properties.
Right. With the state of the market in flux and kind of you and me being deal guys and the deal flow kind of being on pause right now, what do you what do you anticipate Regency's deal flow to be like in the acquisitions and dispositions arenas over the next, say, 12 months?
Well, I think first, what I'm most curious about is, we had some transactions that we were working on, and we were at the entry gate to start down the due diligence path on some of them. This is what properties that we're going to be selling. And buyers have, for the most part, indicated a willingness to continue into those transactions, albeit we're kind of unsure as to when what a traditional due diligence period would be able to accomplish right now. So the timeline would obviously be extended. So back to your question, assuming that we get back on track and we kind of complete what I would call in-process deals, we're probably looking at selling 6 to 8 properties over the balance of the year. And then on the buy side, whereas going into this, I thought we would be really light on the acquisition front, that's still probably most likely outcome. But just as I'm sure you think and everybody else, there's bound to be opportunities on some scale out there. And so I'd like to think that we will be very active on the acquisition front, once we come out of this.
Yeah. And you guys on the buying side, y'all been pretty active over the last 12 months in California. Are you all continuing to see that trend where y'all are pretty heavily looking in California to buy, or has that shifted somewhat, or where are you guys looking right now?
I think, the company has a tremendous, our largest exposure by state is in California. So we're not proactively looking in any one particular market. We're really asset driven, right? And so when the right asset comes up, to the extent it's in our existing footprint, then it's something that we go after. But I don't see us targeting a specific state or market over the other right now.
Yeah. And what's that asset look like for you right now to get you guys excited?
Well,
outside of the pandemic, right? I mean, 2 weeks ago, what's that asset look like right now?
Well, like the one that we bought last year out in California, it was pretty spectacular. It was over $200 million. It had this great mix of uses. It had areas where people could hang out, increased dwell time. So like increased dwell time used to be like the cool thing to say. Now it's like nobody wants to dwell. Like I want to be in and out. So it's funny. Do I think in the future, or in the near term, I should say, that something that has some significant scale to it, that was very attractive to us, because you could Regency could do their magic on it. I don't know that big will be the first thing that catches our eye coming out of this, but we'll see. So I'm not directly answering your question because I'm not sure, but I know that'll be high quality, and it'll most likely have a grocer.
Yeah. What, being that you guys compete for some pretty high quality assets, if you were to remove yourself from what you typically looking at and mix with top tier assets, and you're a smaller buyer looking at, say, some of the deals that you guys have been selling or similar groups have been selling over the last 18 months, coming out of all this, where do you think that the most opportunities for those smaller buyers may be found?
Look, I think that there's certain ownership groups that were just collecting checks, right? And they had part of their ownership was just dependent upon the cash flow that's coming from the property. Whenever you have a disruption like you're in right now, and the checks just aren't coming in on the first of the month, and the people that were depending upon those checks for their livelihood, I think this interruption will cause those ownership groups to fracture, and those properties will come to market. So people that aren't ready to handle the intense asset management that's in front of them, and that they don't have the financial wherewithal to go through a period of time where the cash flow is really choppy. And so I would be looking at those types of ownership groups if I was targeting something off market.
Right. Right. And following up on that, we've had a lot of internal dialogue, obviously, as brokers, as to we have a pipeline of deals that we have had scheduled to come out over the next 30 days, and we've gone back and forth with some different guys as to what is the right decision there. You've got a lot of buyers at home, not traveling on the road, which is generally typical in our industry. Kind of got their one school of thought is that you've got their undivided attention to look at deals that come out right now, to underwrite deals that come out right now. While on the other hand, people are saying, well, yeah, but nobody knows what that NOI is 30 days from now, right? Or 60 days from now. And so, yeah, they're underwriting this deal, but how many of these small shop tenants are still going to be there, or is that NOI going to have to dramatically shift to sell that deal? What would your opinion be in terms of with groups like us as to whether to bring deals to market over the next 30 to 60 days or to table them until, say, the third quarter sometime once everything's stabilized a little bit, hopefully?
I think it really depends on your client, right? I think entering into the market right now is more likely to be perceived as a weakness than a strength. And so people are going to probably underwrite an asset with an eye towards opportunity, right? So that's going to mean, hey, I'm going to ding your NOI and I'm going to ding your cap rate. And so you're more likely to get hit on both ends. Now, if you have a client who says, I don't want to enter the market now, but I need to, then you're going to execute on their behalf. But my personal opinion is I wouldn't enter in.
Yeah. No, that's good. Well, cool. Well, I'll finish off with the final question that I guess we've pegged the common area, another kind of personal question or kind of off the wall question. So get creative here.
Nervous.
Other than the guys at Palomar, if you're having a beer or White Claw with one person in the industry outside of Regency and outside of Palomar, who would that be with, and where would you be?
Well, I mean, I gotta think this guy's probably gonna win here. He's probably gonna get multiple votes from people that you do this with. But I've been to enough events with Wick next to me that I'd probably have to say, Wick would be high on that list.
I like that. And it probably wouldn't be just one beer.
Well, I think probably, you said, who would you have one beer with? And it's almost sounded like Wick. And so he popped in my head when you said that.
Yeah. I like it. No, that makes sense. He may be a busy man coming out of this with the guys he's having a beer with. Well, cool. Well, Barry, I appreciate it. Thanks for joining me this morning, my man. Hope that you and the team at Regency stay safe and healthy over the next few weeks. If you guys are watching this and would like to have a conversation on how the Palomar Group can help you navigate what to do with your investment real estate, please visit thepalomargroup.com and contact any member of our team. And Barry, thanks again, man. We'll be in touch.
Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate it.